Welcome to PTSD, Bunker Gear for your brain. I'm your host, Carl Waggett. Welcome to the evening PTSD report. Guys, happy Monday. Hey, did you go out and get in trouble on the weekend? I don't want to hear anything about it. Keep it to yourself, but I'm glad if you had a good time. So guys, what have we got going on for you this week? Oh, guys, I'll tell you what. Yes, you know what? For those individuals who don't join in from time to time, because believe it or not, we're actually getting new listeners. Very excited about this. What we usually do on the show is we'll take a subject that has to do with PTSD, depression, or anxiety, and we will beat the shit out of it throughout the entire week. So guys, by the time Friday rolls around, you got a pretty good handle on the subject that we're talking about. And guys, this week is no exception. I'm absolutely tickled pink about the subject I've got for you this week. Come on now, you know I bring the good shit all the time. That's why you guys keep coming back. That and my on-air sign. Ooh, I do love that. Santa Claus brought that for me. So anyways, guys, what is it we got going on? Well, let's get on with the show. Yes, because I've been all excited about this one all day. So guys, look, we've established on the show that, look, this mental game, it's a tough gig. It is, for the simple reason is it's different for everybody, right? It's not the same. Look, if we take somebody with a broken arm, and it doesn't matter who breaks their arm, if you break your arm right here, predominantly what's going to happen is you're going to put a cast on it. 6 to 8 weeks, a cast is going to come off. The arm's going to be a little weaker, maybe a little hairier, but the fact of the matter is it usually heals the same way for everybody. The problem with the mental game is that doesn't always work out the same way. And see, this is what really, really freaks people out. Because look, if you have a sore ankle or a sore hip or a sore shoulder, you go to a doctor and say, hey, doc, hook me up with something here. This is no good. I can't live with this. But the problem is when an individual's mental capacity starts going a little bit, let's just say, for instance, I don't know, you're forgetting stuff all over the house. Oh my shit, if I lose my phone one more time, the fact is that these kind of problems are not something we really want to share with people. No, it's not. So the problem is when anybody thinks that their mental capacity is starting to go a little bit, well, they don't think they can fix it, right? And that used to be the way that it was. But now, as I say, guys, we're living in the future. It's 2019. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of ways to fix shit like this. So the problem is when people don't want to start to talk about these problems, what happens is this when a person, well, they get put on an island, don't they? And I mean, obviously, metaphorically speaking, but the fact of the matter is these people that don't want to talk about the stuff that's going on because they think there's no solution to it, these are the individuals that they say, well, suffer in silence. Yeah, they do, because they don't want to talk about it. And you know, look, human beings are really, really funny. We'll ask questions to stuff we know the answer to. Like if we're asking somebody, I don't know, do you think I should buy a new car, right? We already have the answer. We're just bouncing it off somebody. But when we have something in our life that actually we really don't know the answer to, and as far as we're concerned, that's a really big point. As far as we're concerned, nobody else has the answer. Guys, this is not something we bring up to people. Right? This is something that we keep to ourselves. Now, look, a little back history about Carl here, and I know this might shock you, but when I was a little lad, knee-high to a grasshopper, I used to talk a lot. My mom used to say, our Carl, he is a chatterbox. And you know what? The thing is, I didn't even care if anybody listened to me. Look, most of my time through junior high, when I was talking to people, they just ended up walking away. I didn't give a shit, though. The fact is the one thing that I really, really enjoyed was explaining stuff. Yeah, look, I understand that when people try to explain stuff, they usually use $5 words and, try to make themselves sound smarter. But what I really love doing is taking something that's really, really complicated and making it simple. Yeah, and I've always enjoyed doing that. And that's why I love teaching golf so much, because that son of a bitch golf, I'll tell you what, the golf swing will mess more people up, but nothing gave me more joy than explaining to somebody how to get rid of a duck hook. I really, really enjoyed it. Now, the interesting thing is that PTSD kind of took this from me. Yeah, let me kind of explain this for a second, because for the first time in my life, I couldn't explain what I was going through. And look, I'm usually an open book, to the point that probably I shouldn't be. But the fact is that, look, if there's anything going on with me, trust me, everybody knows about it. I don't give a shit, right? But what was so strange about this PTSD is I couldn't explain it, And what that did was, guys, that frightened me, right? I would have never admitted that back then. Holy shit, never, ever, ever. But as I sit here in front of this camera right now, my phone, whatever you want to call it, it scared me, because I didn't know how to explain what was going on. Now, the interesting thing with men, I don't know as much about women, but with men, when they're scared, that will translate into frustration. Yeah, because trust me, when I couldn't remember where I was putting anything, this scared me. right? So my level of frustration was through the roof. And to be honest with you, this is what people noticed the change in with me personally. It wasn't that I was afraid of calls or nobody really noticed my sleep pattern, but what people noticed was my level of frustration. And in particular, the people that really noticed this, my mom and dad. Yeah. Because the thing was, with my ex-wife at the time, we were always fighting, right? So there was no gauge there. So the problem is that I was always kind of laughy-jokey at work, but at home I was really frustrated, and it was my parents that picked up on this. Yeah, because let's be honest, they've known me my whole life. My God, right? If anybody knows me, my parents do. So the thing that would happen is my parents would obviously ask, Carl, what is going on? Well, the problem is here's the roadblock. I didn't know how to explain it, so you know what my answer was every single time? Nothing. Why? Why does everybody keep picking on me? Leave me alone. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. Because this was just easier to answer this way than it was to turn to my parents and go, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. Like, I don't know how to explain any of this to you. So the problem is this was the beginning of me starting to pull back from people. Yeah, because the thing is, even going down to my parents' house for dinner, the problem was obviously the conversation at some point would go to, so Carl, how are things going? And look, I just wanted to avoid it. So this was the beginning of me slowly starting to pull back from people. It was because of the level of frustration, because I couldn't explain what the hell was going on. Now look, if I wasn't such a chatterbox growing up, I would have never noticed this. Like, let's say I was quiet my whole life and I kind of kept to myself. I would have never noticed this skill set leave, this ability to explain what was going on. So guys, look, this really, really freaked me out. And I'll tell you what, it slapped me in the face like you wouldn't believe. Imagine having 20/10 vision your whole life and then waking up one day and your vision's pretty much gone. Holy shit. Trust me. I noticed that right out of the gates. So look, guys, I know this was kind of a long-winded intro, but guys, that's what we're going to talk about throughout this entire week is explaining to the loved ones the behavior of people with PTSD, depression, anxiety. Because look, we can all go on the internet and learn about warning signs. Please, right? I mean, they're right there. You can go find them. No big deal. But the problem is your loved one probably isn't going to come walking down the stairs with a sign around their neck going, I have insomnia. Please excuse me for being an asshole. It's not going to happen, right? So I think where the real money is in all of this is understanding the behavior of the individual so somebody can go, oh, shit, that's what's going on. Because here's the problem, guys. If we can't communicate to our loved ones or our family what's going on, they're going to make something up. Yeah, and I'm not being mean, right? But if you're a laughy, jokey person, now all of a sudden you're not laughing and joking, trust me, somebody's going to come up with some kind of scenario. So guys, we're best to tell them exactly what's going on, and then at least they understand what we're fighting. But like I said, how the hell does one ask for help when you don't even know what you're asking for? Now look, here's the interesting thing about me. I've never had a problem asking for help. You know, inherently, I think the thing is that I'm such a lazy bastard. I really am. I will find the easiest way to find everything. Look, take this show, for instance. I remember going, okay, I want to do a podcast. What's the absolute simplest way for me to go about this? Guys, I'll figure it out, right? That's what I do. I remember when I was going through to be a captain and the platoon chiefs were up there talking about the art of delegating and how to get people to do stuff. I thought, holy shit, PC, I'll get up there and tell you how to delegate. You know what? Better yet, I'll get the guy over in the corner that's sleeping and I'll tell him to teach you how to delegate. How's that delegating? Look, I never had a problem telling people either what to do or asking for help to accomplish a task. It's something that I was always able to do. But for the first time, I couldn't do it. I didn't know how to. I didn't know even how to open a dialogue on how to tell people what was going on or why I was behaving the way I was behaving. Now look, let's double down on Carl's pain here, because why not, right? I mean, it's fun. Here's the really ironic thing. Look, can I give a message to anybody in the emergency services? If you're in your first 8 years on the job, just be careful how much you run your mouth, because this guy right here used to run his mouth all the time. And guys, as painful as this is, I used to think this mental health stuff was a joke. Yeah, I thought it was a way to get off summers. That was it. Because guys, remember in our last episode, we were talking about this whole thing that, look, if you go to a really, really bad call or you see something really traumatic, your brain will actually give you a pass. Yeah, you won't feel any emotions while you're dealing with the situation because, guys, you kind of have to work, right? That's the way it goes. Well, the thing is, for the first 8 years on the job, I didn't feel anything. Yeah, that's right. My brain kept giving me a pass. So look at me when I'm on 5 years and I'm like, oh, geez, what are you kidding me? People can't handle the calls. Look, I hate to say it, and guys, it devastates me that I bring this up. But the fact is I do this so nobody else makes this mistake. But I can remember sat there saying, look, if you can't handle the calls, go be an accountant. Like, seriously, it's nothing personal, but off you go. Like, seriously, not everybody gets to do this job. Well, then eventually one day I got to that point, didn't I? Where all of a sudden I felt, holy shit, I can't do this job. Now, please understand, right? That's obviously not the case. But at the time when I don't understand any of this mental health stuff, I'm thinking I'm done, right? Can you imagine, twisting your ankle and thinking that's how your ankle's going to be for the rest of your career so you can never do your job? Well, this is how I felt about the whole mental capacity. I couldn't do it anymore. Look, I'll tell you what, I'm going to share a story with you. I remember when I was working, this is the first time I've ever told this story, but I remember working, it was around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We were working a 24-hour shift, and I remember calling the PC and going, look, I got to go home. I got the shits. Fact of the matter was, I couldn't spend another second in the building, and I don't know why. To this day, I don't know why. Like, I seriously don't. I felt like if I didn't get out of there, I was going to burst into a blue flame. I called in sick and I went home. Now, let me tell you, when I was driving home that night from work or that afternoon when I called in sick, all of a sudden I started thinking, oh, I'm done. I can't do this job anymore. And look, I don't mean to take the podcast or the Facebook Live and take it to a really dark area, but a lot of people go on about this, why is there so much suicide in the emergency services? Right? Well, look, if I may just explain my own personal little story here. Look, I was 40 at the time, okay? And look, if we're going to start any new endeavors in our lives, we usually do it in our 20s and our 30s. Look, I'm not to say that you can't reinvent yourself when you're 70, but look, when you're getting to about 40, you're not exactly starting a new career, are you? Well, the thing is, I'm 40 years old at this time. Okay, I have no formal education. I'm making a really good wage on the FD. Not only that, guys, we're on 24s. I'm working 7 days a month. So I posed the question, where the hell am I going to go work? Now, the problem with PTSD, depression, anxiety is it'll mess with your mind a little bit, right? And as dark as this is, I tell this because it really illustrates how dark it can get. I remember there was a real stage there where I thought, holy shit, I'm not going to be able to do this job anymore. And what am I going to do? Right? I got 4 kids that want to go to university. There was one night Jackie was in bed and I was at the kitchen table over there. And I'll tell you what, I had a piece of paper and a pencil and the tears were running off my nose because I was trying to figure out how much I would be worth if I died because I get 2 years salary compared to working minimum wage for the next 17 years. Which one would I be worth more? I'll tell you, when you get to a stage like that, that's when real fear kicks in. And guys, this is what this PTSD, depression, anxiety will do to a person as far as messing with their perspective a little bit, because I didn't think there was a way out, right? Because as soon as I started to think, well, you know what, you're heading down this track, there's no fixing it, right? So trust me, when you're sat there with a piece of paper and a pencil working out how much you are worth alive or dead, trust me, that's a dark place you don't ever want to get to. Ever, ever, ever. But the thing is this is what it'll do to a person when they're locked away and they can't explain what is going on. Last week I talked about when I first went off work, and my kids they'd look at me with a sense of pity, right? For the simple reason that, here's dad, he's at home and nobody's really talking about this. And the interesting thing is look, guys, me and my kids are best friends. Like, please don't get me wrong. I'll kick their ass when they get out of line. I mean, I see what happens to people that don't have discipline, but they're my best friends. There's no doubt about that. And look, anybody who knows me at work knows that about my kids. That my kids come absolutely first. But for the first time in my life, okay, especially in the life with my kids, it was like there was a wall between us, and I couldn't explain what was going on. It was devastating. right? The fact that I couldn't talk about this to my kids, what it did was, well, it put me on that island. Exactly what I was talking about earlier. And like I said, guys, when you're on that island and when I'm at home here and I'm not going to work, look, family members are going to start making shit up. Right? And I'm not hating on them, but I'm just saying the fact of the matter is look, if all of a sudden you're changing your personality and things are going a bit wonky, all of a sudden people start thinking, oh my God, what's going on with this person? But the fact is that it's hard to communicate it. I think it's PTSD's greatest weapon. I do. I think it's its greatest weapon because it gets a person alone. And when you're alone, the problem is that you're only dealing with your perspective. Okay? So the problem is that, look, if this PTSD, depression, anxiety has got you on the mat and just given the boots to you and you think you're a piece of shit, right? And that you'll never get back to work and that nobody at work will ever respect you again, unfortunately, your perspective is the only one you're getting at this point. Right? And this is why, guys, comms is so important. You know, we got members of dispatch out there going, Look, comms is important. There's no way around it because without it, everything shuts down. Guys, can you imagine a factory fire if all of a sudden you just cut the comms out? Well, you'd have the 1970s, wouldn't you? Right? Let's be honest. Hey, Ladder 4 is on scene, and that was the last time you heard the truck. They went and fought the fire. But the fact is that if we cannot communicate what's going on, this is when PTSD really gets its claws into us, and your perspective starts to take over. You get those really dark moments, like trying to figure out how much you're worth. Very, very dark stuff. Don't like it at all, right? But this is what we're going to do for the entire week, is what I really want to do is explain to your loved ones, well, the behavior behind this stuff. You know, and why we act the way we act, because like I said, you can look up warning signs. Okay, that's no problem. But what I really want to talk about is, well, the behaviors that come from those warning signs. So at least you kind of know what your loved ones are dealing with a little bit. Because, guys, this depression, this anxiety, okay, this PTSD, it will take an individual who is as solid as a rock and it'll crack them. You know, there's no doubt about it. For the simple reason, it'll make them think that, well, they're not as strong as they used to be, right? And they're never going to get back to the way they was, or maybe they're a terrible person, or whatever. But the thing is it pours a lot of honey in your ear. And guys, look, I really want to take this opportunity to let you know that, look, anybody who works in the emergency services, which is police, fire, ambulance, or dispatch, right? Or correctionals and Coast Guard, as I said, military, nurses, old age homes, whatever. Look, any line of work, okay, where you help people, okay? At the end of the day, regardless of what you've done or what's happened to you, you're a good person. Okay, for the simple reason that you do want to help people. Look, there are people out there right now, I swear to God, that would not go into a burning building to save their own children. Dr. Story, so nice of you to join us. No, it's true though, is it not? There's people out there that would not cross the street if somebody tripped and banged their head. Now you think about firefighters, I'm going to go to bat for firefighters here, but a firefighter, when they get off the truck, okay, honest to God, they are going to put, you know what? They have their wife or husband or kids at home, their entire life ahead of them, and they will go into a burning building and risk all of that for somebody they've never even met. Look, I don't care how much you beat yourself up. If you have that quality that you would do that, you're a good person. Honest to goodness, right? Regardless of what this PTSD, depression, or anxiety throws in your mind. And guys, as I've said so many times before, I'm so embarrassed to say this, but look, I used to think that this whole PTSD was a sign of weakness. Because ignorance, right? Let's be honest, I didn't know anything about it. You know what, I was on the job 5 or 6 years, running my mouth like a tough guy, and not knowing what's going on. But what you have to understand, guys, is this PTSD is directly related to how much empathy you have. Seriously, you think about people in the emergency services, right? If you did not give a squirt about people, if you could not care less about them, none of this shit would bother you. None of it, right? The only reason this stuff bothers you is because, well, quite frankly, you can relate, you know? Look, I think we've all been at calls where you sit there and go, oh, God, I can't imagine going through what that person's going through right now. And you know what, you kind of clear it out of your mind right away and you're, oh God, get that out. I don't want to think about that right now. But look, I think we've all done that. Don't ever lose that, okay? That quality of caring for people, please. Doesn't matter how painful as it is at work, that's a quality that you don't want to ever lose. Because trust me, I lost it for quite a while and it's not fun. And I think this is the biggest sin with emergency service workers. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get on my soapbox with this one. Because these individuals, okay, they spend every waking minute thinking about how to make the general public safer. Right? They really do. That's their job, right? They don't make a product. They don't sell a product. They simply help people when stuff goes wrong. The problem is they'll dedicate their whole lives to making sure nobody gets hurt and then turn around and look at their lives. Yeah, I know. It's a bit of shot in the gut. It really is. But you look at the divorce rate in the emergency services. Like, are you kidding me? Domestic violence. I mean, nobody wants to talk about it. Suicide rate. All this stuff. And until we actually start to recognize that this is happening in our emergency service family, guys, it's never going to get fixed. Right? It'll stay this way. It'll go like this generation after generation after generation. Look, we've talked so many times about how difficult it is for an individual to change their mind. You know how hard it is to change a culture? Staggering. Trust me, I'm working on it. Honest to God, I'm working on it. But the fact is that, look, it is really, really hard to do. It is. And the thing is that when people don't think about this and they don't realize the effects that it has on an individual's lives, well, they never look for a better way to go about it, do they? Right? But I think we're really starting to get to the point now where, come on, guys, like it is. It's 2019. Like, we are living in the future here. Oh my God, right? The whole thing, if we can start to fix how this information or how this stuff that we witness affects us, guys, I think we should start doing this. And especially for the emergency service workers, their families, because my God, you know what? They're the ones that really take the pounding as far as I'm concerned. Because look, I signed up for the fire service, okay? Everything that I was going to see, I signed up for. No doubt about it. That's fine. I'm ready for it. But my family didn't sign up for what I went through or what they had to deal with. So the thing is that I really feel for the family members. I do, because you're caught in this terrible situation where your loved one is going through something difficult, but you can tell that they can't communicate it. You know, and I think sometimes that's even harder when you're asking somebody what's wrong and they're like, oh, nothing. And you're like, oh my God, look, whatever it is, we'll deal with it, but please just tell me. I think if we can start to break through this a little bit, or maybe help the family members understand what they're going through, guys, we can make this road so much easier. Now, how's my time doing? Oh my God, look at the time. I'm sorry. You know what? That one went quick. It did. I'm sorry. I look forward to it all day. Because look, this subject of informing the family members of what people with PTSD, depression, anxiety kind of go through and why they go through it. What have I paid big money for this back in the day? Oh, I got a bit of a cough, tickle in the throat there. I'll tell you, I would have paid big money for somebody to come in here. You remember like the Clerica guy? Yeah, commercials all the time where somebody explains something complicated. Look, I would have loved to have somebody come in here and explain this to my loved ones that, look, this is why Carl's doing this and this is why he's doing that. Guys, I'm not saying I'm going to nail everything down this week, but there's some pretty major ones that I think you're going to turn some lights on for the family members. And once you start to understand this, well, guys, what does it do? It opens up a dialogue. And this is when we start kicking the shit out of it. Oh yeah, no harm, no foul. So guys, look, I'm sorry, I can't let you go without saying this. Guys, you know I got a private group called the Bunk Room. Yeah, it's a bit of a support group. Yeah, the thing is that people are in there that have PTSD, depression, anxiety, and they post stuff about their everyday life. So the fact is, remember that thing I was telling you about perspective? Guys, when you read about other people's stories, it helps to change your perspective. So it doesn't mean that you have to go in there and introduce yourself. No, hey, if you want to, that's cool. But the fact is that you can read and go, oh my shit, somebody else is going through that too. I'm not the only one, bravo. And it's amazing what that will do for you. So guys, look, we've got a really interesting week. I think you're going to enjoy it. Bring your loved ones in here and your friends if you want to, because what we're going to get into is how this PTSD, depression, anxiety really starts to mess with a person's noodle and affects their day to day. Because I'll tell you what right now, none of this stuff affected me at work. No, I was tickety-boo at work. No problems there, whatever. I could do the job. It was when I came home that I started to notice the real difference. So, guys, this is what I want to talk about for the week. So, guys, as always, I'm going to have that podcast for you tomorrow morning. Yes, bright and early. Depends if I can get up. I will, of course. I'm up at the crack of dawn. It's Mr. President. He's got to go out for a piss. I never thought about that when I had a dog, but they've got to go out to piss early in the morning. So I'm up anyways, so I might as well release that podcast for you. And as always, guys, the Facebook Lives are this Wednesday and this Friday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Guys, as always, thank you so much for dropping by. Guys, the numbers are going up. I'm loving it. And all the hearts and the thumbs, I'm telling you, we're getting somewhere with this. I'm going to grab myself a sody pop and I'll jump back in the comment section. We can have a little gabagoo about it. Why not? So guys, like I said, this was the week that I wish I would have had around. It's a service I would have subscribed to, so that's why I'm doing it this week for you guys. What can I say? Ladies and gentlemen, I give till it hurts. Yes, I can't help myself. Anyways, you guys take care of yourself, and we'll see you Wednesday night, but we'll have that podcast for you tomorrow morning. You guys take care. We'll talk soon.